Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Pam and I'm a beauty nurse that was a full-time makeup artist turned nurse, and I am just here to make you feel beautiful inside and out. Every single video I am bringing a ton of knowledge, skincare, beauty tips, makeup application recommendations, and the works, you guys. Let's get started on what I'm going to be doing today. Today is one of my favorite reviews that I could possibly do on this channel. I love trying new foundation out, specifically drugstore foundation. Okay, you guys, this drugstore foundation that I'm going to be talking about is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. So I got two colors because we're going to be kind of concocting our own little color here, and we're going to see how the coverage is, how it finishes out, how it wears throughout a 12-hour day through work. I'm a nurse, like I said, so a surgical mask and everything else that I've got going on today. We are going to put this foundation to the test. Let's get started. Okay, so to get started with this video and this foundation review, I am going to start priming my face. I picked up a brand new primer water from Smashbox. So I've played around with this product in Ulta stores. I've never actually purchased it, but I really loved the tacky base that it left on my skin, and I knew it's something that I wanted in my collection. I just don't commit to full-size beauty products because I'm always buying new ones to try out. So let's just spritz our face and get it ready for some foundation. I love the concept of like a primer water or a spray to kind of get your face ready to just really take on a full face of makeup. Sometimes I feel like with creams, it's just one more layer. Even though it might be a light layer, it's still one more layer of makeup that I really just don't want to put on my face. Okay, so for the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation, I picked up two colors. So I have F11 and F6. Online I saw that they have C colors as well, and I'm assuming that means for cool tones. I just didn't see them at my Ulta, so I picked up whatever I thought would work. So upon first thoughts, I love how big the bottle is. I think it's almost an ounce. It is 0.8 ounces. Taking out the brush, it's a gigantic doe foot, which I really like. I prefer the quickest and fastest application for a foundation that I can possibly get. Now, I'm not totally sure about this color. Like, upon first application, I think I could have gone darker, which is okay because I can use powders to warm it up, but it was really difficult to see what color I was because the sample bottles in Ulta were like not there. Like, I had nothing to reference and I was just going by a photo, and of course that's been filtered and edited and stuff, so I really had no idea what kind of situation I was getting myself into. But yeah, I might go back, depending on like the coverage and the formula, I might go back and buy that noise though. Ugh, gross. I might go back and buy a deeper color. So I love this doe foot application. I think it's really easy. It helps me kind of get the product on there. And something I like to do with my foundation, which is a pretty popular trick, is just to like let the product sit on your skin for a while and get tacky. Some people do this with concealer as well. So having this versus like a pump that I'm pumping out onto a beauty blender or a brush and buffing into the skin immediately is kind of nice. So it feels really good on the skin. I would actually say that it has a velvety finish, which I haven't had a foundation feel very velvety in quite some time. It's very soft and it doesn't feel like it's sitting on top of the skin. It feels like it kind of lays really well. I just hope it's full coverage because I'm a full coverage girl. Now I'm just going to take the Sonia Kashuk brush. This is one of my favorite foundation brushes. I prefer to buff my foundation in with a brush. It's just quicker in the mornings. It's like 6 a.m. right now and I'm getting ready for work. I don't have all the time in the world to really like pounce a beauty blender into my skin, although I do love that finish. So somewhere I'm really checking for coverage is right through here. I have just a few really faint acne scars, but I don't want them to show through foundation, so I'm just taking my brush and pushing that product in and pushing it around. And so far so good. It feels really nice, and oddly enough, although it says it's a full coverage foundation, it feels very lightweight, so I wasn't expecting that. I'm also going to do a 12-hour wear test, so I'm going to work right now at 6 a.m. I will wear this all day long, and I'll check in with you guys randomly on how I think it's sitting on the skin, the coverage, whether it oxidizes. I'll put timestamps as well so you can actually see throughout the day what this is really looking like. So initial thoughts on that first layer, I do feel like it might move, so I'm a little nervous because I'm just used to a wetter formula like MAC Studio Fix Fluid or other more just liquid foundations, we're going to give this just a little bit more of an application in some areas that I think I want more coverage and blend that out again. I also think the color is throwing me off because I like a darker foundation. I just like my face to be more warm. So I go really warm with my foundations and I go pretty cool and light with my concealers, and I kind of bring them together with the powder. Oh, that noise. I don't know if I can get over that noise, you guys. That is loud. I will say though, initial thoughts, I like it more than the Makeup Revolution concealer. I did think that was a good concealer. I still wear that for like gym days or running errands. Like I don't think it's the best in the world, but I think it's great. I am going in with that F6 color. Here we go with the noise. And then I'm just going to dab this on underneath the eye like I would a concealer and blend that out. I love the still foot application. Like I love how precise I can get with my nose contour, and I can use the flatter side to really put product on like that, and then I can use the tip and turn it over to really like define exactly where I want to place that product. It's pretty good. Pretty good application. I wish more foundations came with this type of situation. Okay, so to blend this out, I wanted to use a Real Technique stippling brush, and I just want to pat the outer edges of this and then kind of work my way in. That's my favorite way, just to blend out my highlight. That way I make sure that I keep the centered like very nice and highlighted. What's bizarre is that I like it more with this highlight color than I did the skin tone color, like the F11. So this is the more tan one, and I know it's the exact same formula, but for some reason I just like it in this lighter shade. And I think it's because it's a lot lighter on my skin, so I can actually see it blending out versus like a skin tone when it blends into your skin. You're like, is it there? Is it not there? What does it look like? So far, I really don't mind it. I think it has nice coverage. It feels really soft and velvety on the skin. I don't feel like I'm wearing a ton of makeup, and I did put quite a bit of foundation on just to really get the full feel of this product. But yeah, and I feel like that lighter color worked well as a concealer. I do see some creping here, which I don't know if you can actually tell, but if I look up, you can kind of see how it's settling there. I do think this formula is a little bit soft for me. I have normal to oily skin, so in certain areas, foundations will move if I don't really use a lot of setting products like powders and maybe more heavy-duty concealers that dry down. So in terms of foundation, I really love it, but I would have to go back in with another concealer by another brand and maybe kind of do some patchy work right through here. So for concealer, I'm actually going to go in with the MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing Waterproof Foundation. This is a BH129 brush. I'm just going to go in and kind of dot that on. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's already creasing right in through here. So that's why I'm having to go in with another product and really like push that on top of it. If you're just looking for like just a foundation to do a lot of your heavy lifting for you, I don't think this is going to be it unless you set it immediately. And I'm using the sponge. I don't always use this for a concealer, but since I have like quite a few layers of foundation on, I just didn't really want to add one more heavy layer. I felt like that would be too much, and I didn't want to look cakey. And I do see a little bit of settling right in through here, so that is something that I am kind of concerned about. I'm going to take a little bit of a warmer concealer with the Maybelline Fit Me and then just kind of dot that around my mouth and see if that like kind of takes care of how gray this might look. To set my face, I'm just taking my Morphe Beauty blending sponge and some Laura Mercier translucent loose setting powder. I felt like with this eye area, I was playing catch up. Like it was like I felt like I was trying to beat the clock and like make sure that I get enough setting powder on before it starts moving around. And for me, that's kind of annoying. Like I kind of just want a foundation to may or may not need to be set. I don't want to have to set a foundation. So I like a little bit of a drier formula, and that might be a negative for some people, especially around the eye area. Like I'm really having to push this in and make sure I don't have creases here. Okay, so while the under eye area is baking, which I don't normally do, but I do feel like I have to for this foundation, I'm going to go in with my MAC Studio Fix powder and NC50 and just really use that to warm up the rest of the face. Just dusting off that baking powder, and I'm going in with my Maybelline Fit Me Loose and a Real Technique stippling brush, and I'm just using that to mix in with the setting powder and dust off that baked area. I'm just going in with MAC NC55. I totally hit pan on this. This is just 1 to 2 shades darker than that powder that I used to warm up my face. Just going in to carve out some cheekbones. And for highlighter, let's do this MAC 168 brush and then the Betty Luminizer, which this is such an old school product. I love it. They sell them on Amazon and at Kohl's, and I don't know where else I see the Balm products, but they are so good. Like, I wore this highlighter to a networking event last week, and a few people messaged me and were like, hey, what's that highlighter you're wearing? And I was like, I think it's the same one I always wear. And it just wasn't anything special, but the way I placed it was different. So instead of placing it kind of in this U shape right here, I started right here underneath the eye and I feathered it back. And that actually caught a lot more light, like in a dimly lit area, because I was like in a darker bar. It actually caught a lot more light on my Instagram stories and made me glow a lot more. So I've just been focusing highlighter right through here. I know that if you have like a rounder face, that might be counterintuitive, but I don't know, it works for me, and I loved the way it turned out. And then with the Morphe M554 brush, I am going in with this Maybelline powder in color Berry Bear, and it's just this gorgeous little color right here. Okay, so now that the face is done, I am going to pop off camera, do the rest of my eyes and lips, and I will get back with you guys. Okay, we are back with a full face of makeup on. I just used my Urban Decay, what is this called again? Born to Run palette. I always want to call it World Traveler palette. And I really just went in with this tan color for my crease. I put in a little bit of this punk color all over the lid, and then I softened it up with Baja. So it's just 3 colors, a matte eyeshadow look. I really wanted to keep the focus on the skin. So I'm going to take you guys along with me all day long. I'm going to update you guys on what's going on with the skin. You're going to see how this weathers through a surgical mask and a 12-hour day. And yeah, all right, let's go see how this foundation works. Okay, so now I'm back and it is 6:54 in the evening, which means that I've had this foundation on for almost 13 hours. So I want to zoom you guys in and show you guys what this looks like and kind of give you my final thoughts on it. And just keep in mind that obviously whatever primer and concealer and setting powder and whatever it is that you use with your foundation routine can definitely change the way something settles onto your skin. But like I said before, I used a high-end primer, I used high-end concealer, and I used high-end setting powder, which was the Laura Mercier. So, you know, I feel like I did my part in that I used quality products with this. I didn't use a bunch of drugstore items. So anyways, let me just stop chatting about it and zoom you guys in. Okay, I don't know if you can see the separation. I touched my face minimally. Like, I kind of went in through here and just itched my nose a little bit, and this is not touched up foundation at all. Like, I didn't repowder, I didn't do anything. So like I mentioned at work, I wear a surgical mask, so obviously I anticipate a little bit of this rubbing off, but this much right here, no, I don't. I've never had that happen to me before, and I just feel like I don't have super oily skin. I have moderately oily skin, like a normal amount, but I've never had this happen. Look at this, like, creasing right here. This is wild, okay? And that's really just my major area. On my forehead, I feel like it is chalky looking. I just feel like it's separating right here. My pores between my eyebrows look really large, and I don't know. I just don't feel like it's a good finish. Like, I've used other drugstore foundations. I don't feel like they settle into my skin this way, and I'm not that super impressed by it. And it's quite a bit of foundation, so I'll keep it, obviously, because I've used it. So I'm just going to throw it in the pile of foundations that I use on my body or for the gym. But do I think it's something that I recommend going out and purchasing? No, I don't. To me, it's just anything that makes my skin look like this, I can't. I have a job where I can't touch up and powder often, and I need something that's going to last throughout the day. And there's just a million other foundations on the market that will surpass this type of wear. So, you know, why not? Why not go with the ones that I truly love and adore?